Hello, runners. Hope all of you are doing well. This is Coach Bala here. This is Tuesday morning. Actually, it's about 5:30 in the morning, and you must be wondering, like, what am I doing at 5:30 in the morning, all dressed up like this, and what is happening here? Well, the situation is I come back late in the weekend, had my New York City race. Thank you for all the best wishes and congratulation messages. A lot of people had wonderful races that last weekend. Congratulations to everybody. Those who finished LA marathons and New York City half marathon. It's fantastic day, fantastic weekend. So here I was, fully jet lagged. I've been sleeping a lot after that, and I have a business meeting today, and I have to go to the city to meet my client. And I got all dressed up, and I realized that I woke up a little too early. So I woke up at 3 o'clock, thanks to my jet lag. And then I've been, getting prepared, and here I am, fully prepared. And then suddenly a thought stuck that I still have another half an hour to go, and before I leave. So I thought I'll might as well do a delayed a recording of weekend message. So just as delayed, but hopefully not denied. So here I am. So with that, first of all, congratulations, guys. One more week is done. You all are now officially into the peak meso cycle territory. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And those of you who are thinking, hey, how come all of these guys are already completing the race when peak meso is not yet done? You should know that these are all planned races. What that means is all these folks have already talked to their coaches. They have adjusted their schedules in such a way that they've finished their peak mesos before, and they are doing these races. And those of them who are just doing the long runs, they are all full marathon runners. So instead of, it's always, I advise them, instead of just doing long runs, which is anyway more than a half marathon, if they get an opportunity to do a half marathon, why not just go ahead and do it? Because nothing like race day experience. So that's why people are running it. So don't think that they have short circuited the training plan and they're just doing it. Of course, there might be few who are doing that without informing the coaches and just going and doing half marathons just like that. My sort of thought process to them is, if that's what you want to do, then why are you even in a training program? You can go and do a half marathon whenever you feel like. See, as I've always said, doing a half marathon or doing a full marathon is not about doing it. It's about process to the start line. Are you able to stick to a schedule, get your mind, body, and soul trained to get to the start line? That is what it is. That's what lends you to long-term positive impact, and we go from there. So that's really where we are right now, folks. And those of you who are now in the peak meso cycle, congratulations. Now is the time to sort of bring it all together. All of this training that you have done thus far is about sailing through this next 3 to 4 weeks of peak mesocycle. As I explained, or maybe I didn't explain it, this time we have two extra weeks of training, because what had happened is, when we originally planned for it, we had catered to an extra week, because the race day, as initially was planned, was matching with the spring break here in New Jersey, where the bulk of the New Jersey runners come for the race day. And the spring break is a time when people, sort of travel. So we didn't want to sort of mess up the travel plan. So we said we'll do one more week extra. And that's how it came to the 23rd of April instead of, I think, was it the 15th of April. But then we had trouble finding or getting the license for the race day on the Colonia Park, which is where we do our race. So we had to again delay it by further week so that we can get the permit for the race day. So as a result, 2 more weeks got added, and hence it is this time it's a little extended cycle, which is okay. 1 or 2 weeks more is good. So as a result, we have 1 week of ramp up to peak meso cycle, and then we also have a 4-week peak meso instead of a 3-week peak meso cycle. So that's how it is. So for those of you who are signed up for a race, say 2 weeks before, you're still okay, because that is a 16-week training program. Talk to your coaches, and we will adjust your schedules accordingly. Similarly, those of you who are doing runs beyond the 30th, we would consider, you are still within the season if you're like 3-4 weeks after the end race day. That's pretty much it. After that, the season is officially closed. What that means is we do certificates and that type of stuff till that period. say, call it like 3 to 4 weeks before the race day to 3 to 4 weeks after the race day is your race window that I would like all of you to sort of complete your races, plan your races. We will also shortly launch our race day sign up in New Jersey. I'm really hoping to see all of you there, the volunteers. It's a gala event, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about it in the next weekend message. So those are all the things that are happening. And then this week is also a very interesting week, very exciting week, I would say. Come this Friday, we are going to have our mid-season party, runners party. I hope, thank you for all of you who have RSVP'd. About 80 of you have RSVP'd. I know that, for non-New Jersey folks, it's a little bit of a bummer that, they don't have anything like this. But, what to do, guys? We'll as we scale, we'll figure out more such parties beyond New Jersey where we have scale. So for now, it is in New Jersey. As I had given a lot of information about it, please sign up. Do come Friday evening, nothing like it. Just come, have a blast, enjoy time with fellow runners, meet those fellow amazing human beings that you might have only heard of by name, and put a face to that name, connect, network, dance, party, potluck, good food, drinks, you name it. Everything is there. So looking forward to seeing many of you there on this Friday, 7 p.m. onwards, 7 to 1 p.m. Our DJ Parth will be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I have two messages for you today. Message one is about the idea of banked runs, and message two is about the idea of problem solving. So let's first talk a little bit about banked runs, and then in the problem solving section, I'll share with you my thoughts and why it is critical habit or a critical skill set for any long distance runner, and how the banked run actually helped me for a problem solving that I did live this weekend, just to give you an example. So first of all, what is banked runs? The idea of banked runs is essentially for those of you who are sort of get mentally or physically fatigued, running long distances for a long time. It is, professionals or high-end runners who can run for 13, 15, 17 miles continuously. They don't need these banked runs. They are in a different sort of category of their own. I'm talking about people like me, or a large set of people who are not really, who have never run in their lives before, but who have picked up running off late and sort of couched to on the amateur class. Now, when you are asking, when this person runs for long, whether it is distance or time, there is a mental and physical fatigue that builds up. Okay, so the way to sort of get over that is mentally tell your body that, hey, you're not running 13 miles. You're only running 0.9 miles. Just focus on the 0.9 mile window. So the minute you break the 13 miles into a 0.9 mile window, you get that extra mental strength. Your mind is not acting as an inertia for you. In fact, it is now looking forward to finishing that 0.9 mile segment. That concept in action happens in a banked run. So what it really means is, think of it like this. Let us say you have a 5-mile run. One way of doing, and your speed is 12 minutes is what your target is. 12 minutes a mile is a target. One way to do that is just run 5 miles continuously for 12 minutes, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, and that's it. The race is done, or the run is done. In a banked run plan, how you do this is that you run a little faster than 12 minutes. So let's say you run at 11:45. So you run 11:45 for, let's say, up to 0.9 miles. Or in other words, by the time you reach 0.9 miles, you actually banked some extra sort of seconds to your target 12 minutes. Or in other words, because you're running at 11:45 or 11:30, whatever is the case may be, when you approach 0.9 miles, you can afford to walk for some time and finish the next 0.1 mile walking and still able to hit the 12-minute target pace that you want for that mile. So really what is happening is you're not sacrificing on pace, you're not sacrificing on your target split plan. But what you're really doing is running that a little extra pace. So it's not as if you're running beyond your CP. You are sort of running, but at the edge of your CP, you're running that little extra space, thereby you're able to gain some additional seconds or time, and you bank it in your sort of, it's almost like a savings bank. You bank some currency, and come 0.9 miles, you sort of use it from your bank and finish the 1 mile, last 0.1 mile walking. Why? Because you do this, your heart rate sort of stabilizes. You mentally, as I was telling you, that you now have a better sort of mental strength because your mind is not fatigued. Also, you physically, you are sort of, taking a little bit of a gap. Maybe those joint pains and all that, can get a little bit of a rest. And as a result, you finish the 1 mile and then do the same thing again. So that is banked run, folks. So the specialty of banked runs is because you get that break in between, you are able to actually enjoy the run quite a bit. For instance, I have been doing banked runs for forever. I don't even remember when was the last time I didn't do a banked run. Not because I cannot do continuous runs, but I actually want to do banked runs. Even in a race, I do banked runs. The reason for that is even during those 0.1, 0.2, 0.15 miles, that is when I enjoy the race. I talk to people, I take pictures, I tweet, I look at WhatsApp, just literally enjoy the city there that I'm running, that I normally don't get that view. So if you're always focused on running, you miss out on that third pillar of a runner's eye, which is having fun. And banked run so beautifully sort of plugs into that strategy that I was talking about. It's always been fun. Those of you who have done banked runs, they normally get addicted to it. When you keep doing this for a long time, you can actually control the amount of bank you have. So you literally, it's about constantly checking and trying out different things and figure out what is the pace that I need to run so that I get a little extra time. This mile, I actually want a little bit more time because I'm going in the Manhattan Bridge and I need a little bit more time for taking pictures, for instance. So what I try to do is get a little bit more bank, so that I have 0.2 miles of walking as opposed to 0.1 mile of walking, all within still the largest strategy of how long I need to do for that particular mile. Those folks who do not like bank run, there are, the folks who don't believe or not believe, who feel that this is much more of a pain, is some folks do not like the stop-start strategy, because their body is such that once they get into this, they just want to keep going at it in a constant, steady pace, so that they don't want to stop. And the effort of stopping and starting is actually a little bit more than just continuing to run for some time. Absolutely, that is totally fine too. This is just one other tool that I want you to try. It's not like mandatory that you need to do. Depending upon how you feel, how you face, your body and mental conditioning, you can check out this. I'm saying this only because I want to make sure that you have this idea that banking doesn't mean you're losing out on pace. Banking just means you're managing your pace, okay? So that's that point about banking. I definitely do try it out. The second thing I wanted to talk about today is the problem solving, the art and science of problem solving, and why that is very important for a long distance runner. Now, this is a whole problem solving itself is a whole new topic. We can talk, and there are enough ideas and logic behind it. But for this particular podcast, all I just wanted to talk about is that why being a good problem solver is very important to being a good long distance runner. The fundamental reason is when you are in long distance running mode, especially in the long distance range, I'm talking about like beyond 10 miles, 13, 15, 17, or in a race for that matter, you have to expect that you always should have a plan. Without a plan, there's no point. But you need to expect that just because you have a plan, everything cannot and will not flow through to meet those plans. There will be things that you didn't expect. There's going to be things that are thrown at you. Small things will become big issues, like small gear problem will suddenly come and bite you very badly during the race. Or, you didn't sleep well yesterday night, you didn't cater to that, and suddenly you're having problems while run. Weather is different. The pressure because of number of people around you are different. There are so many things that can actually throw a wrench in your plan. I'm talking about race or even a long distance, but let's talk in terms of race. So because of that, as a long distance runner, you need to develop a mindset of problem solving, because problems, you need to give it that there will be some problems that you didn't expect, that you're not prepared for in a race. So when there is definitely going to be a problem, the only way to just get over it is become a good problem solver. So only if you're a good problem solver, you'll be able to resolve those problems that are going to come your way, which is a given. And hence you become good long distance racers and runners. So that's why the concept of problem solving and being a problem solver is very critical to be a long distance runner. So let's talk about what is problem solving first. So as I said, there are many different definitions of problem solving. The way I would sort of handle problem solving or define problem solving is, one, do you first know what the problem is? Many times a good problem solver knows exactly what is he trying to solve for. Okay. Many times a bad solution is designed or crafted because the definition of problem itself is not very clear. So that's the first skill set of a problem solver. What is my problem? Okay, identifying that. The second sort of skill set of a problem solver that I want all of you to think about is this notion of a non-binary mindset. What that means is, when you have a problem, if your mindset is I need to solve 100% of the problem, that is a binary mindset. That means either I solve it 100% or anything less than 100% is a failure. So you try your best, your solutions, you craft your solution in such a way that you solve the entire problem in its entirety. That is not a way to go when you are in a long distance problem. See, that 100% thing is a research mindset where you have all the time, you have all the resources, you think, look back, figure it out, and just shoot it and nail the solution in such a way that the entire problem is removed. But in the context of life, I would say, why only long distance, but definitely in long distance, is that if you get into the mindset of solving for it in 100%, then the solution set you may have will be very restrictive. And the chances of you getting 100% is very low. As a result, either it'll be a 1 or more likely it'll be a 0. That means you haven't solved the problem and you've succumbed to the problem, right? So the second thing I want to talk to you about in this idea here is having the notion of a non-binary mindset in solution. That means even if you're able to solve 80% of it, that is still a good problem solution. If 80% is not possible, even 50%, that is still a good solution. Do you know what I mean? That notion needs to be there as a second point. So first is problem definition. Second is a non-binary mindset for solution. Then the third one is this thought process about options. When you think about solving a problem, your mind should be thinking about what are all the options I have to solve it. You need to get into the thought process. What are all my options? The minute you get into the options, then you can start thinking about step 4, which is what are the pros and cons of each of these options and which one should I take based on the input and the feedback I'm receiving. If you're able to follow this framework, folks, many problems can be resolved systematically in a stepwise issue, and you will be able to solve it. As I said, this is a full 1-2 hour, maybe a week. In fact, I used to give a problem solving training. We in fact piloted it and 20 of us joined it. And I think I'll give it once again. But it's like a 10-hour sort of discussion on how do we think about problem solving. But let's land this thought process with an example when it comes to running with my own personal experience, which was the last weekend. So last weekend, I just came back from a long international trip, had hardly any sort of gap, less than 12 hours from the time I landed, or less than 15 hours from the time I landed to the start line of a half marathon in New York City. I come from India, warm, come back here, extremely cold, very windy. So it's like sub-zero temperature starting to the end kind of a temperature. And then it's a half marathon. It's not something that is to be taken lightly. Of course, international travel, 1 week of heavy work, dehydration, all that is there. Even though I was careful, I know that this is going to be an issue. And I was focused on, last time when I did this, I got into a trouble. So I was even more careful. So here I am in the race, feeling good actually, because I slept in the flight. I also slept the previous night. I thought I had hydrated myself well, all that good stuff. Start the run. I felt great for the first 3 miles. And then suddenly my heart rate started spiking. I'm talking about like, I've never seen my heart rate more than 150, 160. And suddenly I'm seeing 180, 185, which I know that my body is sort of telling me, hey, sorry, buddy, I'm not ready for this. Shut it down. Just shut it down. That's what my body is telling me. So now comes the problem solving. So what is the same framework that I was talking about? Framework one is, what is my problem? So as I thought through that, my problem is I'm exhausted. Maybe I was exhausted even though I'm not feeling it. My problem is my heart rate is going up. So I need to manage that correctly. I need to manage it. My heart rate, I cannot let my heart rate go up like this. Just forget about it because I was feeling good. I could have just continued running, but no, heart rate was telling me something. So my entire problem statement was, I need to make sure I manage the heart rate. So what are the options? The options is either I stop running completely, like just call off the race and just go home. That was definitely an option. Another option could be see if I can just walk it up, So that's the 0-1 scenario. The first option is 0. The second option is 0.2, solution. Just walk the entire thing and just see, which if I'm able to finish it before the time, then it's good. At least I enjoyed the nice walk. Third is do a mix, walk and do run whenever you feel like a little bit. Forget about all the targets. Just focus on no PRs, no extra runs. Just run as it feels like. And then, of course, fourth one is, try to push for it, which was, try to just somehow get it up and forget about the heart rate. So that was the option. I was ready for all these options. I was ready for, this happened when I was about to get off a bridge, which was into the Manhattan. And I said, you know what, let's just walk up the bridge, come to the other side. If heart rate doesn't stabilize, I call off the race, take a subway and go home. That was all ready for it. Mentally, I was ready for it. Then came option 2, which was maybe I walk and see my heart rate, how is it? So I was looking at data. I was looking at how my body was reacting. And it just so happened when I started walking, my heart rate came down to 105. So I realized that, yeah, everything is good as long as I'm walking. So I crossed the bridge and I started a little bit of run. And when I ran, I realized that if I run alone, my body automatically takes me to my CP pace. And the minute I get my CP pace, my heart rate again goes back. So I needed a way to forcibly reduce my pace. And that is when my solution came in the form of Arvind, who was running along with me. And his CP was around 12:50. Mine is around 10:45, 11. So I was going towards 11 without me realizing and hence having a spike. And here he was, Arvind was just following. I said, okay, why don't I literally just follow him? Just be behind him. And he didn't even know it because I didn't want him to be pressured because I'm following him. I just allowed him to do his race. I literally was a couple of steps behind him and I was seeing how my heart rate will. I was looking at my heart rate and seeing how it will sustain at his CP, 12:15 CP. I was able to maintain a rhythm of 150, 160, which is my good heart rate. And I just went along with him. When he stops, I will stop. When he takes a stop for a picture, I will just stand and watch him give a pose for the picture. I kept on running. Whenever he stops, I'll immediately stop, irrespective of how I felt. When he goes a little faster, I'll go along with him. And before I knew, 8 miles just went by with a pretty controlled heart rate. And I was able to finish the run. Forget about my PR, forget about my timing. I thought it was just a beautiful, enjoyable time running along with Arvind. He didn't know that. And I was also very glad to see how he managed this race. He has come such a long way. Congratulations, Arvind, for your half marathon. But I hope this gives you an idea of how you break down a problem statement into the definition, options, pros and cons of the option, looking at the data that's coming up and making a choice live and try to see if he can get, if not 0.8, if he can get 0.5, 0.4, still the outcome is worth it. And that's the approach you all need to think about. Please take a look, think about it and think about when is the last time you had to apply such framework, or when is the last time you had a problem statement like this and you didn't apply this framework, and would love to hear your thoughts on how a problem solving framework that I talked about will help you become good runners and also good human beings in solving life's problems. Thank you, guys. We'll see you very soon and continue to push hard. Peak Miso is here and looking forward to dancing and having a good time with all of you in the potluck runners party that's happening very soon. Take care. Bye.